Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're gonna wait for some people to get on. Are you drawing your? Are you doing a mate and the things, the grass. Who's in?
My husband and my roommate.
My room.
Oh, hey guys, say bye because I think we're on my personal.
Oh, bye. Oh no.
I'm gonna share this story anyway because then people now know.
That we're live.
I say I got a lot of people that jumped on, so that's really good.
Hello?
We're live.
Oh, now we're live. The Facebook quality looks so good. Okay, we're gonna give it a minute for people to get on and for Bob and I to finish the phone call.
How did you go the last time? I was wondering why so many people jumped on so quick.
It is kind of delayed on Facebook.
It's
There's a really big
delayed on this too because last time you guys were talking.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
We're finally on our own page.
Okay. Are people live?
We're live.
We got 5.
Yeah, I got a notification you guys were live.
We got people.
Okay, good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Oh, my husband came to this one too.
Okay. My husband better get in there.
I'll do a shout out.
Okay.
My husband would like to be live in our video with us. Denied.
Hey, someone should see how the sound quality is like.
Okay,
Wow. People are asking us. Rachel Norris will say, "Hey, Rachel."
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
She hasn't. Do you want to type hi? You can type hi if you want, Leah.
I'm really close.
It's actually not bad, though. Ring light makes it easier to do that. And that's the answer is we said the sound is good.
Should we give it a couple more minutes?
Yeah, we're getting a good response from everybody. What do you guys think? Do you like the quality so far? We've mixed it up a little with our lighting.
We have like a legit mic now. Thanks to my sons. We're very legit.
You guys want to get started?
Shout out to Sunco. Okay. Okay, guys, we're gonna get started. So we're gonna talk about immunity today, which is, I guess, a hot topic right now.
Yes, it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
And very important. It's like very controversial also.
Yeah,
I think.
it definitely is.
I mean, I think like a lot of people talk about it and then they get very heated about it and
Yeah. Well, I think right now, like, it's a stressful time for everyone, and, you know, there's just so much, like, a flood of information, and there's a lot of, like, a flood of good information, a lot of flood of bad information, and I think people kind of really don't know what to believe as far as protecting themselves and their immune system, and we kind of want to, like, take it back to the basics, so that you can understand your immune system and what you can do to support it and stay healthy.
it's always been the same. It hasn't
Yeah.
really changed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, even with what's going on right now, your immune system has always been important. It is important with what's going on right now, and it will be important
Yeah.
because I think it isn't getting any better. It's actually getting worse. So we feel that that's why more important than ever before,
Yeah.
what we do here is
important.
Is more important than ever before. And so
Yeah.
Hannah's drawing this really cool little diagram for us.
Yeah, and so we're gonna.
I love diagrams.
Me too. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to understand. So Hannah, come back here. So we're gonna kind of, like I said, get back to the basics. And so you can kind of understand your immune system. Don't fall. Okay. Here's Hannah. Hannah, we can't see you on Facebook.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay. There's Hannah. Okay. So when we talk about your immune system, there's kind of two parts of your immune system, and not a lot of people understand this. So the first part of your immune system, which is what we're trying to work on with supplements and IVs, and what's so affected by the COVID-19 virus is more your innate immunity. And
Everybody, just the
Yeah.
little thing. Everyone, please ask questions.
Yes, please ask questions if you have
So
questions.
in the comment section, please ask questions. Everyone,
Yeah.
You'll answer.
And so we're going to try to make this like as simple to understand as possible. But basically, you have two types of immunity. You have your innate immunity and you have your adaptive immunity. Your innate immunity is the immunity that you're born with. And so this is your quick response immunity. So this is, hey, your body sees a germ, that it starts to attack that germ. It doesn't care if it's seen that germ before. It doesn't care what type of germ it is. It sees something that it hasn't seen before, and it starts to attack it. There's kind of two parts. It's the cells that are with your innate immunity, and we'll talk about kind of what those are and the players there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also your physical barriers are part of your innate immunity. So things like your gastric lining, like the lining of your nasal passages, your skin, the mucus that you produce, your nose.
So we know, like, for example, the coronavirus kind of sits in your nasal passages and your oropharynx.
Yeah.
So we tell people to use, like, the
colloidal silver.
Yep. And we tell them to rinse out their nasal passages and stuff with
that
and some water.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah, and so that's working on your innate immunity. And then another big player in innate immunity is your gastric acid. And so the acidic environment of your stomach really helps prevent germs from getting into the bloodstream. And so we're going to talk about gut health associated with innate immunity.
And we talk a lot about gut health with all the stuff we do with integrative medicine.
Yeah.
And we really focus on making sure your gut is good and healthy.
Yeah.
And most people in America have really poor gut health.
Especially with antibiotics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
like one course of antibiotics will kill your gut bacteria. It'll take about a year for your gut bacteria to come back to normal.
Yeah. And so that's kind of innate immunity. So if we talk about innate immunity, basically key points are it's rapid, it's what you're born with, and there's kind of two parts, the actual immune cells themselves and your physical barriers. And then the other type of immunity that Hannah has drawn for us is what's called adaptive immunity. And there's kind of two breakdowns of that. So there's natural adaptive immunity and there's artificial. And so this is where everything that we've talked about vaccines and antibody testing, that's where all of this starts to play a factor is in the adaptive immunity. So you have natural adaptive immunity, which we get antibodies through our mother's breast milk. And then also you form natural immunity by contact with disease. So this is where antibody testing comes in because you've been in contact with the disease, your body starts to make cells and make antibodies against that disease so that if you're presented with that disease again, that you will have the antibodies to fight it off. The second part is artificial adaptive immunity, which is vaccines. Go ahead. Okay. So these are kind of the two big players, innate immunity and adaptive. And we've been talking about the antibody testing.
Yeah, so we have antibody testing with for COVID now, and so it'll test for IgM and IgG antibodies. So IgM is miserable, which means you recently were, you had the disease, and IgG means in the past you had the disease.
Yeah.
So we can test for that now. And so in some countries, they're doing something called, they're trying to get herd immunity. So in some countries like Sweden, they're trying to do that. Which is really nice because they're not putting the whole population in danger. There's some parts of the population, like the older people, the more at-risk people, like
High risk
high
population.
risk population,
Yeah.
who's staying at home. But they're trying to get the more younger people to get back to work,
Yeah.
and they're trying to get them to get back to work, but they're still doing some social distancing. But they're trying to get the healthier people
To make this adaptive immunity.
adaptive immunity.
Yeah.
So if about 60% of them can form
Antibodies.
antibodies naturally by
Yeah.
getting the virus, but
A
not
mild
developing, the severe form of the virus,
Yeah.
then they're able to sort of confer those, antibodies amongst themselves.
Yeah.
So that's what herd immunity is, and they've been able to achieve that in some form or the other in some countries in Europe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so the antibody testing is exciting because a lot of the large commercial labs haven't launched it yet. So we've been lucky enough to get a small lab that is starting antibody testing a little bit earlier, and we've been able to offer that to a good number of our patients already, and the results are coming back in like 24 to 48 hours.
and I mean, this is a virus.
Yeah.
It's not something that is going to just stay, the
same.
same. It is mutated. I mean, it's mutated about 20 to 30 times already. So we really have to rely on our immune system to fight it. It's not just going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, we found this vaccine and this vaccine is going to protect us forever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the influenza vaccine, right? We have to keep guesswork.
Yeah.
We have to keep guessing every year as to which strain is going to attack us. So
Yeah.
every year we have to get immunized. So we can't keep guessing every year.
Yeah, and we
Oh,
can't.
look, this year it's this.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So-
sometimes even with the flu vaccine, some years we get it great, and a lot of people don't get the flu, and we're very well immune to it. And other years, I think we kind of miss the mark with it because it is so rapidly mutating, and a lot of people get the flu even when they do get immunized. So it's not in no form is it a perfect system when we talk about vaccines and antibodies, and that's why I think here we focus more on supporting your own immune system because we can't say, hey, you're not gonna get it, or you're 100% protected, or if you have antibodies that you're protected, or if you get a vaccine that you're protected. We have to focus on our own immune systems, what we can do to support those to better protect ourselves.
Right.
Antibodies or vaccines or not.
Because we do know for sure that our immune system is really perfect.
Yeah.
And it is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's what God gave us. And
Yeah.
our human body is capable of so much.
Yeah.
So if we do, work with what we know and what we have,
Yeah.
we can really do amazing things.
Yeah, and so I think kind of transitioning, I think we had some email and questions regarding kind of like what you can do at home to help support your own immune system. And so I think we had already done a little segment on our ID in the box, but I think we want to talk about some major players, which I think we're missing the, can we get a bottle of the AHCC?
Yeah.
I think we're missing that.
Well, that's really like liquid gold.
Yeah. So I think we'll talk about, everyone knows, like when you think of immunity, you're coming down with something or you want to be immune, the first major player that people talk about is vitamin C.
Yeah.
That's what everyone knows works.
And vitamin C is being used in hospitals now.
In high doses.
In
Yeah.
high doses. It's even like in Korea and in China, they're using it IV to fight the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And there's studies going on currently for that and zinc.
Yeah. So I think vitamin C, one thing, like going back to your immune system. So vitamin C,
It's right here.
yeah, so vitamin C mostly works on your innate immune system. So it's going to, so it's going to work on phagocytes and your innate immune system. And it's also going to work some in your adaptive immune system by helping upregulate lymphocytes, which are the cells that work with antibodies. And so it works a little bit on both, but I think it's the major players in innate immune system, that immediate response. So you start to feel something coming on, you take vitamin C, and it can shorten your duration of symptoms.
It also is like a very powerful
Antioxidant,
antioxidant.
yeah.
So because it's an antioxidant and the virus is so susceptible to antioxidant damage. If you think of the virus and you think of like the shell of the virus is very susceptible to antioxidant damage. So if you look at antioxidants, you have like zinc and vitamin C. They're really powerful, and then you have glutathione, which we use in an IV. And you put that in your body, and it's just going to shatter that virus. So just think of it like
Yeah.
in your head is just going to just shatter. It's just going to shatter your virus.
Yeah. And I think the main thing with COVID-19, and I think with a lot of other illnesses as well, but is the inflammatory cascade that happens once your body is exposed to the pathogen or the germ. All these cells that we're talking about, both innate cells and adaptive cells, all these cells are constantly signaling each other, saying, "Hey, friend, come on, let's start fighting this virus," and that increases the inflammation, and antioxidants are really the only thing that we know that
So if you
decreases that.
If you kill the virus in the beginning, then you will get like that mild to moderate response, and it won't go into that cytokine storm, which is what you don't want happening.
Yeah.
That cytokine storm, when your whole immune system becomes messed up and it goes in the opposite direction, is when you go into that respiratory distress
and you start getting high fevers, low blood pressure. You can't get blood flow to your organs. That's when things really start to take a turn. The next thing is zinc. And so zinc is something that has been specifically studied, I think, more in viruses than any other thing that we have really talked about. There was a large study in 2013 done that looked at about 18 different studies done over the last 15 to 20 years, specifically on zinc. And so basically what they determined is, why is zinc so effective against viruses? And really what they determined by that was that, the virus, in order to survive, the virus has to replicate. So it has to replicate and make more little tiny baby viruses that can infect your cells. And so what zinc does is it actually stops the replication of the virus. And so the virus can't make DNA to then insert into your cells for those cells to become sick. And so zinc is awesome. And zinc, I think that in the study it said it's taken within it's most effective when taken within the first 24 hours of symptom onset. Right now, we should all be taking this prophylactically, in the chance, basically just assuming that we're going to get exposed.
And what's really great about all this stuff is it has no side effects.
Yeah, no side effects.
I mean, like if you take a medication or an antiviral or like hydroxychloroquine, any of these things, it could give you a heart attack, or it could cause like some really crazy side effects. None of this stuff, it just makes your skin really good. Yeah. Or it makes your hair grow. Or it
makes
gives
you glow.
Or something like that. It doesn't have any side effects, guys.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't you take it?
That's true. That's very true. And then the big player, too, that we wanted to talk about, which is we haven't talked about because it wasn't in our IV in a box. Did we talk about it during that video? I can't remember.
I kind of touched on it.
It's the AHCC.
Yeah, this stuff is amazing.
Yeah. So this works 100% with innate immunity.
And we couldn't find anything. We looked online and stuff, and we searched a lot of studies, and we really couldn't find anything that fixes the cytokine storm. Yeah. And so there's a type of cell called a dendritic cell, and really that doesn't matter to you guys, but basically that dendritic cell signals cytokines to be produced, along with other cells in your innate immune system that signal cytokines to be produced. And cytokines are just tiny little baby inflammatory cells that when they're produced, that brings on more inflammation and really upregulates your immune system. And AHCC actually increases those dendritic cells to help regulate cytokines. So this can actually work on preventing cytokine storm. And it can also stop. I take it when I have I've been taking it for years. For whenever I feel sick, whenever I feel flu-like, or if I feel like something's coming on, within 24 to 48 hours, I'm fine. Yeah. So I just take it as needed, and it makes your natural killer cells, which is over here innate immunity, it makes it go up by 200%.
Yeah. So natural killer cells are cells that the virus is replicating and it's inserting its DNA into our own cells. And so once it's inserted into our own cells, those cells are now sick. And so a lot of the immune system sees those cells still as our own cells, so it won't attack it. Natural killer cells are the only thing that we have that actually attacks our own sick cells. So it's the only thing that can really work once those cells already become infected with the virus or bacteria or whatever. So natural killer cells are really important in viruses, but also in things like cancer and stuff like that. It's really important. So, and AHCC upregulates those.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It helps with cancer, it helps with with like a lot of things. So
Yeah.
So and then we have probiotics. We have other mushroom extracts. We have ashwagandha because stress is like a big, everyone's stressed, and when you're stressed, your immune system goes down. So
We have questions. I didn't know. Okay. So one question: can you overdose on these things? So you technically can take too much zinc, because there's a really important ratio in your body of zinc to copper. But zinc, you have to take very, very, very high doses to overdose on zinc. And so any, I think as long as you're doing, like, I don't think around 50 milligrams a day is not too much.
I mean, you can take more than that, but like,
yeah, you can take more than that. But as long as you're taking like a normal amount that's on the back of any bottle of zinc that you're taking, then you should be fine. And I don't think anything else you can. I mean, maybe if you overdose on ashwagandha, you feel very, very, very chill. But
well, I mean, also you may have some GI upset.
Yeah, you have some GI upset, and definitely vitamin C. So vitamin C,
you will get diarrhea and then you'll stop.
Yeah. So usually I tell people, this is funny, but seriously, all my patients. So I say, take vitamin C, start with 1,000 milligrams, bump up by 1,000 until you get diarrhea, and then bump down by 500. And that's the dose of vitamin C that you should take. So,
but you can always get it in IV, and that's really the best because in an IV bypasses your stomach, so you can
absorb all of it.
All of it.
And you won't get diarrhea.
And you also get like a very high dose, which is great. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing in China and Korea. They're getting like 50 grams of vitamin C to kill coronavirus.
So if you think of this, like a typical dose of vitamin C would be somewhere between, of oral vitamin C would be somewhere between 1,000 and 4,000 milligrams, or 1 to 4 grams. And at around 4 grams, most people would start getting diarrhea. When we give it to you IV, we're giving you 15, 30, 40, 50 grams of vitamin C without any side effects. So it's a very hefty dose of vitamin C. Okay, next question. Okay, this is a question for you. Can you explain Coriolis extract?
Yeah, actually we went over that when we did IV in a box. And it's that mushroom that looks like a turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey tail.
Turkey tail, that's right.
Yeah. So it's turkey tail has been studied in a lot of things. It was studied for breast cancer. They used it in breast cancer patients along with chemotherapy. They used it in people who have like stomach cancer along with chemo. It does help with innate immunity.
Yeah, and I think again, kind of working with those natural killer cells.
Again, with your natural killer cells. Not as effective as HCC, but it's a great supplement to take every day.
Yeah, and then we kind of touched on this, but how often can AHCC be used, and what does it do? We already talked a lot about what it does. AHCC can be used right now, can be used preventatively to prevent you to get your natural killer cells up, so that if you were to get sick, your body has a better chance of fighting off.
If you are sick,
there's
really nothing better than AHCC.
Yeah. So if you start to feel any of these things, if you're not taking anything, you start to feel any symptoms, I would say most of these things are best if taken within the first 24 to 48 hours to lessen the severity.
But the Coriolis is in our IV in the box, so that would be something you would take
every day. Yeah. Okay, this is a good question. Who can we trust? Politics versus medicine.
I think medicine's like a big
what?
I don't know. It's a big like.
So someone said to me, would you trust somebody that's studying medicine their whole life or somebody that's just competing to be on top?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think in medicine, I always say this about medicine. I think medicine in general is one big educated guess. So we take symptoms and we take lab work.
It's also where you are in medicine. Like, I mean, I think what we traditionally learn in medical school is nothing what we do now. Like, for example, what I'm doing now and what I learned in medical school.
Oh, it's totally different. It's totally different.
Because this is a whole different area of medicine.
Yeah. And so I think not every medical expert is an expert on every topic. And so you have to take that into consideration. We approach things from like from an integrative standpoint. And so we look at kind of the whole picture, but not all medical professionals do that. And so someone might be really good at the immune system. So they're like Hannah, they can like draw out your immune system. They know all the cells and all of that, but
I don't know if they necessarily teach you in medical school about, anything about supplements.
Yeah.
Or the natural ways to help the immune system.
Yeah.
Or food, or nutrition, or gut health, or any of that. So I think that's something that is very powerful.
Okay, so we also, this is not a question, this is a statement.
Uh-huh.
The World Health Organization,
Okay, that's
WHO,
yeah.
has just stated that dogs are immune to COVID-19. And then it says, who let the dogs out? From Brittany Ader. She's the queen of jokes.
First of all, dogs are not immune to COVID-19.
No, I don't think they are.
And COVID-19 has been in dogs and cats for years. And they actually have a vaccine for it.
Oh, there's one. Okay. Do the good mushrooms help? Okay, this is a good mushroom.
Yeah.
First of all. And last week I think we said we were going to talk about mushrooms.
It wasn't easy.
We did not.
Talk about mushrooms.
We did. We talked about mushrooms.
There's another one.
We haven't seen any studies that are backing up the good mushrooms' efficacy against COVID-19, but to each them.
Well, people are microdosing and it's helpful for depression.
Yeah. So you do you.
I just had a question pop up. Can we inject Clorox? Trump said it's okay.
Okay. No.
Trump didn't say it's okay, actually. Trump said that, we should look into this. And the media kind of
Blew it up.
blew it out of proportion. And he did talk about UV light, and you know what?
UV light is
UV
something we
light.
haven't mentioned.
UV light IV is actually very beneficial for killing viruses. So part of what he said, or I don't know, whoever said it, did actually make sense.
Yeah. Because basically, so UV light on your blood is basically you take your blood out of your body and expose it to UV light to kill the virus, and then the blood goes back into your body.
It actually is a treatment.
It is a treatment. It is a treatment for
They didn't know they didn't know it existed, but it does.
Yeah.
But no to the Clorox. I just want to respond to him.
Well,
Yeah.
Clorox, there is hydrogen peroxide IVs, which actually do kill viruses. And
And
that
Clorox,
does,
it has
it kind of makes sense, too.
Okay, I think
So
not
they didn't know.
the bleach.
Let's not talk about bleach, but hydrogen peroxide IVs do.
You should come to our office if you want an injection.
Maybe Trump should contact us.
Let's get an injection of other things.
Does
Okay.
sunshine kill COVID-19? There are rumors. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it doesn't make sense that, I don't know.
Won't hurt you as long as
I think
Yeah, you should wear sunscreen.
You should, because vitamin D is very good for you.
yeah, vitamin D is very good.
It's very good for your innate immunity.
And I think actually vitamin D was in that rapid response protocol.
Yeah.
Is what people who are trying to prevent, there was a rapid response protocol that came out, and basically people who were trying to prevent getting sick. And a lot of these players were in their probiotics, the vitamin C, the zinc, vitamin D was also in there. I think that was it.
People with low vitamin D levels, actually, their immune system doesn't work very well. So you really should have your vitamin D levels above 60 right now.
Yeah, I agree. And are you moving?
You're
You're
tired.
tired.
You're
You're tired. It was our background.
Do you guys
Turn the
want
light back
to
on.
let them know that insurance covers the...
Oh, yeah. So for our patients, if you're an established patient here, your insurance will cover the antibody testing, the COVID-19 antibody testing. If you are not an established patient here, we are still allowing you to do the antibody testing, but there's a small fee for the reading of the test. But as far as we have heard, all insurances should be covering the COVID-19 antibody test, because I think the more we know, the better. The faster we can open
And
these
then
back up.
you
'Cause-
can just, at least you're a little bit, you feel a little safer going back to work.
Yeah. And I'm ready to do some Botox.
I know. I miss
I'm ready to do some Botox.
doing something.
I know.
I miss it.
I know. So do we have any other questions? What should we talk about next week? For people who don't know what antibody testing is.
We just talked about it. We just talked about it.
Yeah. What the antibody testing is. But if you guys have questions about it. It's a blood test. It's a simple blood test. You literally come in, you get your blood drawn, 1 tube of blood, and then we get the results in 24 to 48 hours. It's not a finger prick. Some of the antibody testings have been a finger prick. This seems to be a little bit more accurate. And I did mine on Tuesday, and I got the results on Wednesday afternoon. I think over the weekend is probably people that get it done today are probably not going to get it till Monday. But yeah, it's an easy thing to do. It's really easy to do. And then, what should we talk about next week?
Do you want to talk about something fun?
Yeah, we should talk about something fun. So I feel like, I mean, immunity is awesome.
Let's talk about skin.
But we can talk about skin. Let's talk about skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's less science.
No, not good health.
No.
Sexual health.
Sexual health?
There's a lot of married people at home stuck together.
So let's do a poll, like sexual health or
skin health.
Skin health.
Yeah. Those are both hot topics.
Repeat that. Sorry, my mom was calling.
Let's do,
Sexual health or skin health.
yeah, we'll do a poll. We'll put a poll on Instagram. We'll put a poll on Facebook. And you guys vote. Sexual health versus skin health. Two topics that both of us love. Less science. More fun.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna bring on some guest appearances because you're probably gonna get tired of seeing our two faces. So we'll bring in some guest speakers.
Some fun guest speakers.
Yeah. And yeah. So if we talk about skin, we are doing virtual skincare consults right now. So if you're at home and you're bored with your morning or your nighttime routine, or you just want to glow or peel or any of that stuff at home, we're doing virtual skincare consults, and we'll kind of go through some of the protocols and stuff as we talk about skin next week.
Okay, guys. Jonathan, the cleanse is working.
Oh, the cleanse is working? That's awesome. I'm starting the cleanse on Monday. So I think we have probably 4 kits left. And so I'm going to start on Monday. And I think we had to mail some out, so I hope people can get them on Monday. But if you guys are okay with it, I was going to start everyone that's bought the cleanse in the last week that's planning on starting with me on Monday. I was going to do a little Facebook group so we can share recipes and success, and it's basically just going to be me on there just telling you guys that I've probably lost a couple pounds, hopefully.
Have you guys read a study about nicotine binding to the coronavirus?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. There is
Doesn't
some.
mean you should smoke though.
Yeah, there is some research that it might be protective, but
Let's not go there.
test.
Let's not go there.
Any other questions, guys?
Long-term is worse.
Yeah, long term. Yeah, Hannah said long term smoking is worse. Yeah, so picking up the jewel right now is probably not going to protect you from or cigarettes.
And Clorox is not, not
addictive.
ingest. or
We're not
inject.
endorsing ingesting Clorox.
Please do not ever.
Already
Like
suggested
iPods.
no bleaching.
No bleach, ingesting or injecting.
Yeah.
That no.
So what are some things that we would talk about if we talked about sexual health?
We would talk about all the things that you have no idea about that you could do.
Yeah, to enhance your sexual health.
This is therapy or medicine.
Yeah, so we do lots of things for sexual health here,
And
and
nobody knows about.
yeah, that not a lot of people know about. And so I think we do a lot with erectile dysfunction and related to orgasm, a lot with low libido, which is something that so many people struggle with and that is sometimes not addressed.
We do a lot with because it's to do with your brain,
Yeah.
your hormones, your medication.
Yeah, there's so many players.
So many things.
Yeah, there's so many players.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, so vote sexual health versus skin health. And then I think we have. Okay, so someone would like to discuss sun protection next week. So if we do skin health, we can definitely discuss sun protection because that is a major player in your skin health. But even if we decide to do sexual health, we'll do a little bit on sun protection and kind of how you can protect your skin.
With sexual.
With sexual health. What are we doing? Putting lube on our skin?
No.
Water-based.
If you're on the beach.
Okay, I think that makes you burn. Oh, if you're on the beach. We're gonna end on that note. But we'll see you guys next week. Let us know what you want to hear about. Okay. How do we end this?
Shut the lap.
I want to put my face in front of the camera.
Like,